Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piroworski. I am your co-host from the East Coast, coast with the most, with the co-host with the most here on The Rundown. Craig already told you 2A views, conservative news. And Craig, do you know what today is, by the way?
Oh, that would be Taco Tuesday.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yum. It's like a treat.
Yes, that's right, folks. It is Taco Tuesday, the day in which we enjoy, I guess, folded up, folded up tortillas made of corn or flour, and goodness, all sorts of goodness there stuffed in the middle.
Mucho tacos. Muy bien.
Any special plans today for Taco Tuesday?
I already ate them for lunch, so I might have some for dinner later. I made make sure I ordered some extra and I could bring home, but I hid them, so hopefully they're still there.
Well, we're going to be doing fish tacos today, so it's going to be exciting. Going to be make for a very, very good dinner.
I know the first time I heard that and found out it wasn't a slang term. I remember that day.
Oh.
I didn't know it was a real thing. I know you get fish tacos.
Yeah, no. Real, no, it is a thing. It's not necessarily a slang, but
Oh, they're great. Now they do them here with like you get like little like cod, like you would normally have like a fish and chips, but they cut it up in little pieces
yeah,
and then fry little pieces and put it in there. Oh my, those are ridiculous. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Most delicious, most delicious.
Yep.
All right, let's go ahead and give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, let's say hey to our good friends over at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. If you got a AR in the last 5 years, you probably already have one of their barrels and don't even know it, but now you could buy direct from them if you want to do your own build or rebarrel your current rifle. Hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, listen, they're fighting a good fight there behind enemy lines. Make sure you reach out to them, see what they're doing, participate, and help out any way you can. And if you're looking for some awesome combat gear, some tactical gear, some web gear, go to uscombatgear.com.
Folks, once again, these are the people who bring us to you in hopes that we will bring you to them. Please take a moment, visit their websites. It's in the description to this program. Check them out. If you like what you see, which I am sure you will, make sure you spend some money with them, donate, become a member. Whatever they're asking you to do, go ahead and do it because, trust me, it's worth it. Remember, tell them the guys over at The Rundown sent you. Also, please make sure you're sharing this program with your friends. Noticed, especially the podcast. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. We're watching our numbers grow leaps over bounds. So keep doing the good work. Now, those of you who are watching this on video, continue to do the same. Let folks know, look, if they want to listen, if they want to watch, wherever you get your podcasts, you will find The Rundown, 2A News and Conservative Views, as well as wherever you like to watch video, whether it's on OpsLens, whether it's on Spotify or YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble. You can find us. So check us out. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and encourage your friends to do the same.
Do it. Craig said do it. Like, subscribe, share. Make sure you get it done. Do it.
Get her done. All right, let's get into
today. I should cut my sleeves off my shirt. Yeah.
Let's get into today's topics. And this is one that you're not going to hear many places. You're only going to hear this particular news item in center-right news outlets like Fox News. You'll probably hear it at the New York Post or the Washington Times. You will not hear it on CNN, MSNBC, because, well, they just don't want you to know. They don't want you to know this information. And it has to do with the big guy. That's right. We're talking about President Joe Biden, at the time, Vice President Joe Biden, as was referred to in numerous messages and emails that were on the laptop of one Hunter Biden. Well, now it appears that there's a whistleblower, and this whistleblower has made it aware and revealed a number of different documents that, that show that not only did Joe Biden know, right, but he was actually involved in several of his son Hunter's crony business dealings. Now, Mike, once again, this is something that we're not going to hear much about from the mainstream media, but I think this is a bombshell once again, in particular for those who've been reporting on this stuff since the laptop first came out and yet have been silenced by big tech and the mainstream media.
Yes, Craig, you know, I'd be willing to bet. I mean, the odds would have to be pretty high that we see this break or at least released from one of those traditional liberal media sources. Like we've said the past couple of weeks, we've seen CNN, we've seen CBS cracking a little bit. I think we might see it from one of them, but we're right. This is a
you'll see it on November 9th.
You will, yeah. That's probably when you'll see it. You know, but I think I do. I think we see it from one. You know, it might be a backstage or back page story, but I think we'll see something out of it. But you're right. This is huge. This is every denial that they've put out since that laptop was found. Here's the proof that it was a lie. And listen, everybody knew it, right? When you've got the son of the vice president, who's traveling the world and making these big deals, and he's doing it with his last name, and for the father to say, "Oh, I had no idea what was going on." No one believed you. No one believed you at all. But they hated mean tweets so much it didn't care. They didn't care.
Right. Mean tweets did not matter. They hated mean tweets so much, so nothing else really mattered when it came to stuff like this. And once again, it's just to me what's interesting is that the mainstream media will refuse to accept any culpability for what they did. For literally the fact that if you want to talk about collusion, if you want to talk about rigging an election, the mainstream media and big tech played a huge role in electing Joe Biden because they had their favorite son, they had who they wanted, or not so much their favorite son, they knew who they didn't want. What they didn't want was Donald Trump. And the funny part is now many of them are actually regretting it, and they're regretting it because Donald Trump boosted their ratings.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely right. Yeah. And listen, they the hatred, they don't get it. Again, the mean tweets, Craig, I actually found an interesting stat this morning or last night. I found it was, Donald Trump's tweets from when he was president, because of inflation, those tweets he wrote 4 years ago are only worth 60% of what they were back then.
Well, there you go.
It's true. It's true. What's that? That's like instead of 280 words, they're only worth about 180, something like that.
Right. There you go. They're only worth about 180 words. But, Mike, that leads into our next story because, by all accounts, or at least by honest pollsters, Democrats are in trouble. And there's an article in the California Globe today talking about some of the issues relating to the Democratic Party. And what they're noting in this piece is that while Republicans are focusing on key issues, Democrats are focusing on things that are, really voters absolutely positively do not care about, right? Republicans are focusing on issues relating to inflation and the economy. If you look at that, 37 and 29%. Those are the issues, and immigration. Those are the issues that Republicans are focusing on. Crime. Those are the issues. Now, once you get down here to women's rights, healthcare, and guns, those tend to be the issues that are less on the minds of voters. Right? Those are issues that tend to be further down. By the way, when they're talking about guns, they're talking about gun confiscation. They're talking about gun control.
Right.
But the key here is Democrats are in trouble because the people care about one thing, and the politicians on the Democratic side are talking about something completely different. And that's the reason why they're saying in these upcoming midterms, Democrats are going to get their butts kicked.
Craig, bring that back up for a second so I can point something out to the folks there. You ever watch, let's say, Jeopardy, and you get an answer, and it could be two answers could be the same. Like, what is this? And they show it, and it's a chickpea, which is also a garbanzo bean. You could have both answers, but they have to go to the judge and say, okay, that answer is acceptable. Look at these categories they have here. All right. Price increases and inflation. Well, that's a pretty good thing. How is that not economy? How is that not the same thing as the economy? How is not the same thing as taxes? How is that not the same thing as the national debt and budget? I don't know where they get these answers from. Half of them are the same thing, and they're completely skewing these numbers to look the way they want them to look.
Because it's downplaying the economy. You're correct.
Yeah. All of it in here is the same way. Everything that they've got in here just takes and tears it apart, the items, and makes it. How is corruption not part of crime? Okay, it's just. Sorry, education and school safety. How come they don't go together? It's just But anyway, again, just the fallacy of polls, folks. When you look at this, see what they're doing. Take a look at what they're doing. Do your own research. If you see them asking you the same question 3 different ways or giving you the same answer 3 different ways, move on. Go find another one.
Well, but here's the thing though that I get from this, Mike, is even though they're trying to tear. This is a Democratic pollster. They're trying to tear the issues apart so that it'll make Democrats look good. It still makes them look bad. I mean, this is a poll that skewed their direction, and yet they're still not talking about the issues that are important to voters.
Yeah, they absolutely have no clue, right? But like you see in this poll, they're trying to redirect you. If you added up the 3 polls having to do with inflation, taxes, and the economy, it would be 90% of everybody's concern. They're trying to downplay, like you just said, Craig, the importance of what people are seeing as the problem.
Right. Well, exactly. That's their goal. But now imagine if this were an honest poll. Like you said, you would probably see that almost everyone, the number one top issue is going to be inflation. It's going to be the economy. It's going to be taxes.
Dollar bills, y'all. That's what it's about. Dollar bills. That's everyone's top concern right now.
James Carville said, "It's the economy, stupid."
Yep. Exactly right.
People like the I mean, it hurts. Dude, and you probably have gone through this. You go to the grocery store. Especially if my wife usually does the shopping, my wife and whatnot. But I went to the grocery store, man, and I was like $400, and I'm like, for what? Like, what did I walk away with for $400? I remember you should be able to buy a big screen TV for $400.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's definitely at least, and I do the majority of the shopping. Because I'm the cook, so it's at least 30 to 50% higher on daily sustenance items.
Oh, it is ridiculous, and we're luckily I was in a position where I was doing well, but all of a sudden I'm realizing that I don't have as much money at the end of the month as I used to. I'm just hoping I don't go to the point where I have more month than money.
Right. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. No, very true. Very true. Listen, you always got that extra kidney to get rid of, so.
There you go. Don't really need it, Anyway, moving right along. All right, immigration is one of the issues that was there that you saw that seemed to be important to voters, but it didn't seem to be very important, doesn't appear to be very important to the White House. Now, Arizona has decided that they're going to take steps to try and secure their border. There are many places in Arizona where there are gaps in their border wall because, I don't know, Biden won't finish the border wall, or he's refused to finish the border wall, even though he's actually has been having them do some work on the border wall. Anyway, all that having been said, they decided to put these containers up there in Arizona. Well, these containers up, these cargo containers, well, they have been ordered by the federal government to remove these containers, saying that they do not comply with federal law. So, Mike, what you have here is you have a federal government who said, we're not going to do our job and secure the Arizona border with Mexico. You have the folks who are there in Arizona say, well, we're going to put these things up in order to secure our border and protect our citizens. And you have the federal government saying, Nope, can't do that. Can't protect your citizens.
Yeah, this could be a good fight out there. You got Governor Ducey, who's conservative, pro control there at the border, and these things have been up, Craig, 6 months, a year now. It's not like they went up yesterday. And listen, for those who don't know, those are the 20-foot containers. There are thousands and thousands of these around the country that are not serviceable by means of they don't meet the DOT standard for travel on the roadways anymore. So they go and become construction trailers or barrier blockers like they have here. So that, they're getting the second and third purpose out of them. Craig, I'd continue to build these things. I'd continue to put them up out there. And when the federal government says they're not a compliance, you can't have these out there, I go, what are you talking about?
Well,
I have no clue what you're talking about.
But Mike, here's what's funny. So as a part of their reasoning, what they argue is they say, well, having those there are in conflict with the contracts that we have to have people build that border wall. Now, mind you, they have not assigned these contracts. They have no sign. They don't have contracts with anybody. They just have these contracts that they're supposed to issue, and they have not been issued. Now, here's the funny part. This is the line that gets me. All right. In their letter, they say the unauthorized placement of those containers constitutes a violation of federal law and is a trespass against the United States. The letter states that trespass is harming federal lands and resources and impeding the reclamation's ability to perform its mission. Mike, let's be clear. Those things constitute a trespass on the United States because it's keeping people from illegally trespassing into the United States. And they say it's keeping them from doing their job, which is to keep people out of the United States who aren't supposed to be here.
Yeah, listen, and I'm sure this is the administration is not telling the truth about this. We know that. I guarantee you Arizona is smart enough. Governor Ducey and his people are smart enough that they didn't go drop them on the border itself, that they backed them up 100 yards and made a line in Arizona and not on the federal border zone. So just make sure, hey, listen, they're 100 yards back. You got plenty of access room there to go in and do what you want to do. And they're not on your lands. But again, I would do the whole, what are you talking about? That's just the property owners. That's where they store their trailers. That's where they put them.
I just think that it is beyond odd that your job is to protect the border, and you're saying you can't protect the border because they're protecting the border.
Right.
And
right. Yep.
you need to stop protecting the border so that we cannot protect the border, which is our job to protect the border. Okay, I'm confused.
Craig, my one concern about these there, and other than this, I think it's a great idea, is that the illegal immigrants, they like cut a hole in them in one side and then they move in. They just, they occupy. It'd be the world's longest apartment complex. It's not real wide, but it's the longest apartment complex.
Actually, I think there's a show on HGTV about how to turn those trailers into homes.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, next time we go down to the border to check on the progress, you're going to find like this swanky long apartment complex. Like,
I don't know that swanky is the term that I would use, but yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
You get some good tacos though.
All right. Mike, now coming out of California, coming out of Sacramento, California, is good news. In case you have not heard, the COVID emergency is coming to an end. That's right. The state of California, the land of fruits and nuts, the governor has officially declaring an end to the COVID emergency in the state of California, because so many people have been dying over the last, so many people have been dying. So much harm is being done by COVID that we are still, by the way, in a state of emergency in the state of California. And the governor, Gavin Newsom, or El Duce, as we like to call him, has said that there is going to become an end to California's COVID-19 state of emergency. There's only one problem, Mike. It's not happening until February. That's when it's going to happen, Mike. February. So he will have a total of almost 3 years if he's reelected, because he's up for reelection right now. If he gets reelected, which chances are he will have had 3 years of emergency powers
Yeah. This is why 4 months, by the way. I think he's trying to give COVID a chance to come back a little bit. We want something for the winter 22-23 season, a new strain that he's going to create out there. But you guys still have provision on it. I mean, we killed it in Florida 2.5 years ago, Craig. 2.5 years ago, our governor went, "Hey, COVID, get out of here," and that was it. It was done. We don't have to deal with it anymore. But you guys are still under his thumb statewide. Now, I will say we do get a couple of crazy loony mayors and stuff like that pop up, and some no nukes, some liberal nonsense, and they talk about COVID, and we all was just like, send that guy home. He doesn't know where he is. Send him home.
Well, once again, the problem is that in order for him to not have those emergency powers, the state legislature has to vote to say no. They have to change the rules. And seeing as how the legislature has basically a super majority of Democrats, they're not going to challenge the governor. It's just, sadly, that's just kind of how it is. Their own members of their own party are not willing to challenge the governor and his emergency powers, in part because some of this is stuff that they would like to see happen. But here's the thing:
right.
if there is a ramification, if there's a problem, if someone has issues, takes issue with it, which many people in California, by the way, do, all they can say is, "Well, that's the governor. He declared a state of emergency. We didn't do that to you. You need to take that up with the governor."
Yeah, Craig, I know you got your supermajority, you got your governor with his issues out there. You might want to look into getting with Arizona, getting some of these containers, maybe building yourself a wall around the counties that don't want to be part of that state anymore, and just get it over with.
Yeah, well, the sad part is that unfortunately I'm also in a county that would be probably on the wrong side of that wall. I would have to pack my stuff and leave my county, leave my home here in Sacramento. I would then become part of the new Republic of California, the People's Republic of California. Sadly,
yeah, you got to get out. You got to get to the other side, or cut a hole in one of those containers and move in.
Then move in. I'm telling you, man. Look. You know what? Hey, I got an idea. So they could do a new show, put those on the border, and do a new HGTV building at the border.
There you go. Do we? What is it? Love it or leave it? Something.
There
like
you go. Love it or leave it. So you build a home out of a container on the border, and you decide whether or not you want to leave. You either love that container, or you want to leave it, and you're going to leave the country.
Listen, I mean, down in Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, this would be great. It's going to be waterfront property. That's always a plus, right? So.
Good stuff.
Craig is a guy who lived in a container for over a year, half of a container. I had a 10-foot section of a container that when I was able to not be spending my time in the desert, I could go back to and drop my gear and plop on the floor down there and just relax. But I lived in a container for like I said, for over a year, or that's where my cot was when I was able to get back to it. But it's not that bad. It's not that bad at digs. I'll tell you that.
Well, my son-in-law, who's been deployed both in Africa as well as in the Middle East, he's lived in a container for a couple of years, and he has said pretty much the same thing.
We called it either back on the cell block or back in Legoland.
Back in Legoland. There you go. All right, let's move on to our parting shots for today. This first one is in honor of our current president. Now, we all know that he is somewhat challenged when it comes to reading from the teleprompter. Tell me.
If you get any questionable calls, please tell us by going to report fraud, dotftc.gov.
Okay, I wanted to play that one a little earlier than I was ready, but tell me if you can pick out the gaffe in that particular appearance on the teleprompter.
Honestly, Craig, when I watched it, the first time I watched it, I thought he was talking about the Department of Transportation's website. Is what I thought he was talking about, because he says report fraud, dot.ftc.com. And I was like, well, I guess we're doing this through the Department of Transportation. I'm making notes and everything. I didn't realize he was talking. It should have been report fraud dot. So
Democrats,
He's not.
you elect Democrats. You elected him. That's your guy.
Yeah.
Now,
Yep. Yeah, but
I
no retweets
realize
today.
he's-
So for you.
I realize that he is much more sensitive when tweeting,
Yeah.
but every other
Yes.
time, dude is
Yep.
not. And the worst part is that his vice president is worse than him.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Isn't Dan Quayle looking like a genius right now? By the way.
Dan Quayle is definitely looking like a genius.
Listen, that guy didn't know if there was an E on the end of potato. That was it. That was his gaff. That was it. You know, 8 years he spelled potato wrong once. Look at what she's doing every day.
Well, and Dan Quayle is often one of the most underrated vice presidents, in that, by all accounts, Dan Quayle was a very smart, very intelligent individual. He made that one mistake, and he's never, ever, ever been able to live it down.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
This next parting shot, well, you know us, we love to do memes. And so this one we felt was wholly appropriate, and we thought that y'all would get a kick out of it. Go ahead and describe this one, Mike, for the people who are just listening.
So there's like an emergency services dispatcher there sitting at the computer, got his little headset on, and then there's obviously a troubled person calling him. And the caller says, "Hello, 911, I'm dying." And 911 says, let me see. He says, "What?" He goes, "What meme are you looking at?" He goes, "No, I'm literally dying." And the operator says, "LMAO, tag me." So it's just a little play. It's a meme, is what it is. Really,
It is a meme on memes, and that's the whole
Yes.
point. Is that I will just tell you that it takes a particular wit to be able to communicate some of these jokes via memes. It is a talent, and it's one that I greatly appreciate.
You're welcome.
All righty, Mikey. Well, we're coming up near the end of the program, so it's time to do once again.
We have one more meme. At the border, they've come up with a new way to keep Mexicans from coming across the border.
Oh, snap. You are 100% correct. Hold on. I will pull it up
I will introduce. I will talk to our folks again and tell them to visit our good friends at Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Go get all your AR barrel needs while you're there. The California Republican Assembly, they could use your assistance fighting the fight over there. Make sure you check them out. Maybe send them a dollar bill, y'all. And then when you got extra dollar bills left over, go to uscombatgear.com and get you, it's uscombatgear.com and get you some good web gear and combat gear.
Okay. All right. So they've come up with a new way in which to prevent people from crossing the border. Now, you all know what we use. If you want to keep crows out of your fields, what do you use?
I use usually
what do
a shotgun,
farmers use? Not what do you use. I want to know what you use.
A scarecrow, right?
A scarecrow. Well, if you want to keep people from illegally crossing the border, what would you then use?
A Trump crow. Scare Trump. No, a scare Mexican. There we go.
So the only issue that I have with this one is that it's not just Mexicans who are coming across our southern border.
Right. So maybe it should be Scare Mexico because we're trying to scare everybody there.
Right. So you put Trump up at the border. Basically, that's what you do. You put Trump up at the border.
That's it. Exactly right. Put this scarecrow of Trump up at the corner and nobody's coming across.
Yeah, that was a very orange version of Trump, too. Actually, it was probably a little more skin tone than Trump actually is.
Well, he's living in Palm Beach now. He's not up in D.C. anymore.
Exactly. Well, folks, hey, that's going to be it for today's program. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We'll be back tomorrow on Hump Day. See you then.